Most contractors are taught to think in appointments all day, every day. One lead, one meeting, one estimate, one job. You win it, you execute it, you get paid, and then you start over. That's the model a lot of the industry lives in, and it's not wrong, but it does have a ceiling because when that job is done, the relationship usually ends with it. Your effort to obtain that project resets back at zero. Your communication stops compounding, and the next opportunity requires a brand new opportunity. Multifamily, it works differently. And once you see it, it's really hard to unsee it. In multifamily, the first opportunity is rarely the full opportunity. I think of it as the audition. And when you obtain or generate a multifamily opportunity, there is almost always a portfolio behind it. That first property, that first project, that first scope of work, it's not really ever about that single building alone. It's about how you show up inside of a larger ecosystem. In residential and even a lot of commercial work, that opportunity, it's transactional by nature. You meet, you quote, you perform, you close it out. Even if you do excellent work, there is often really like no natural pathway to that next opportunity. There's no like built-in talk track for your communication. Even all the professionalism in the world, right? You could be amazing, you could be super reliable, but it doesn't compound into future work. You may get a referral, you may get a repeat call, but structurally, each job stands on its own. But multifamily, it's designed pretty much in the opposite way. In multifamily, management companies rarely oversee a single property. They oversee portfolios filled of assets, multiple buildings, multiple locations that comes along with multiple budgets and multiple timelines. So when you're in with one opportunity, they're not just asking, can you do this job? They're really asking you, can I trust you inside of my entire portfolio? That's the audition. And this is really where that compounding begins in multifamily. Like every single interaction, they stack. How you communicate, how you solve problems, how you manage the expectations, how you really can reduce friction when working with that property manager. They're watching how you operate long before that they decide how to involve you in conversations. You're not being evaluated for that current scope of work alone. You're being evaluated for what is coming up next. This is really why multifamily changes the entire dynamic of selling, because you're no longer fighting to win the next appointment from scratch. Instead, you're really like building continuity on top of itself, right? So your second opportunity doesn't require the same level of explanation as the first. Your third requires even less. And eventually, you stop needing to sell altogether because you're simply included in the conversation before the decisions are even made. That's really the difference between transactional work and portfolio-based relationships. It sucks, but a lot of contractors, they never experience this. It's not because they're not capable. It's not because they're not amazing at their craft, but it's because they don't realize that what they're doing when they have an opportunity for multifamily is that they're auditioning. They approach that first multifamily opportunity sometimes in the exact same way that they do every other job. And they ask themselves, like, how do I win this project, instead of asking, how do I position myself for the next 10? The real power in multifamily is the effort that you put in, and it doesn't reset when that first project is done. Your communication compounds, your reliability compounds, your reputation compounds. You're no longer chasing parallel opportunities that don't connect like railroad tracks. You're building momentum inside of a single relationship that expands over time. And this is really where, professional freedom starts to emerge. You're not It's not really from like working harder, it's not from bidding more jobs, but it's from shifting the way that you manage things. You move from managing appointments and opportunities to managing relationships. From managing projects to managing entire portfolios. And the contractors who thrive in multifamily, they're not always the biggest. They're not always the cheapest. They're definitely not the loudest. And they're the ones who understand that every single opportunity is a doorway, it's not the destination. And once you start operating that way, I believe that your business stops feeling fragile. You're positioned inside of something that grows. And I think that's the difference. And that's why multifamily is never just about one opportunity. It's an audition for everything that comes after that.